Hi, today we look at the greenhouse. This is the greenhouse at the school. Now all of these things you can see growing in front of you here. Fantastic looking beasties they are. These are all aeoniums. They come from the Canary Islands. Now I'm all on my own at the minute, so I'm going to point one or two things out about them. If you do get them from us, they're terrific plants, but they need to come inside in the winter. And now you can see down there is a little rosette. That's how we propagate them. This is a mother plant. This is possibly about 2 years old. There's like enormous cabbage. Quite architectural in the garden. When it does go to flower, it's a little bit disappointing. But as it stands at the minute, well, you can see the size of my hand. They're a good sort of 2 hand breadths apart, really, when they're growing nicely. And so we're propagating quite a few this year. Due to lockdown, they seem to have done the best. So, and we take their little tiny shoots off, like you saw, and we put them in a pot and root them down. And over winter, they produce these beautiful big plants. The big plants then can be moved on, and then they can be sold in spring. The rest of the garden has 1 or 2 other bits. Now this is another thing we've got on some of our videos. I said about growing things from the kitchen. Well, these are the tops of pineapples. No, they are not enormous pineapples. They're just ordinary pineapples, but we've grown them and rooted them down and grown them on and on and on. Hopefully, if we are very lucky, you may see a baby pineapple this year growing in the tops of these. Usually they've got to get a lot bigger, but sometimes they'll produce them when they're quite small. Now these are from all over the world, from Costa Rica, from the Ivory Coast in Africa. So basically they're many different varieties, and we've done that so we can pick the best one that will grow in the greenhouse here for us, rather than go to the expense and do all the research and everything. And here's another thing we've got: citrus plants. Of course, in the Midlands you can't grow citrus plants outside, but with a bit of protection in the winter you can still get a crop of citrus. And all the rest we're growing in the polytunnel. Oh, by the way, these are banana palms. This is Musa sycamensis, I believe, and these are meant to be almost hardy. I haven't dared risk them outside this year, so we'll put them in here. And these, believe it or not, were nuts the size of horse chestnuts last spring, so they grow quite fast. And the one thing that I did want to show you here is our beautiful tree fern. Now this is my tree fern. I grew it from a spore, and you can see it's grown up nicely. This one I believe is Scythia medullaris. But the thing I wanted to show you is what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be in an act of vandalism and take some of these leaves. There you go. And the reason why is those black bits underneath. That's all spore bodies. Or what I call sporangi, and my daughter calls sporange, because she says it's the only word that rhymes with orange. Well, I don't think it does. Sporangi doesn't rhyme with orange. And anyway, these are all these tiny spores. Now, there must be millions on this plant, but it's such a spectacular plant. This one's actually grown fantastic. Sits in my garden in the summer, comes here in the winter, and we've done some propagation with it. So we're going to do some more propagation now. It means setting these sporangi. So if we're locked down, I'm going to take some of them home with me, and I'll show you on a Grojo in a few days time how we actually grow them. But now this is getting to be an adult. It may get up to 10-15 meters high, but you can see every year it produces all of these beautiful sporangi on the underside of the leaves. It's not hardy. This is not like the Dicksonia antarctica that you see everywhere. This one's a lot thinner. The leaves are a lot, I don't know, wider, and I think it's a bit prettier. But each to their own. I've got both of them, and Cyathea australis as well. Now if you need to grow these, there's very many places on the internet that you can get spores from. They're easy if you do them like I show you how to do them. They're very hard if you expect them to grow like ordinary plants in pots. It's very unlikely to succeed, but that's what we're going to be doing in the next 1 or 2 grow joes. Just panning around the rest of the greenhouse here, you can see where some of the students have taken some of our cuttings, and we've got loads of propagation stock, and we just make more and more and more and more of them, and that's my cactus collection brought here for the winter, but it's kind of nice to teach the kids all about it. And here we've got, now these all ready for carpet bedding. It's another thing we'll go into later. This is an Echeveria that we plant out during the summer. It doesn't last long outside during the winter. However, if I go in on this tiny little plant, can you see? Oh, isn't it so cute? There. That's what happens to them. You just tear a leaf off, stick it in a pot, it grows hair-like red roots, and then it produces another little rosette. And they keep on going and going and going until, we'll spin it round and go and have a look. We've got some babies here, and there they are. Aren't they cute? When they fill the pots, we'll sell them. And so we're coming on to the slightly bigger ones down here. There. Don't need to water them much, especially in winter. They're really tough little chaps. And here's another load of leaves. The reason we're doing them in 6s this year is because I'm sure people might, seeing as they seem to enjoy gardening at the minute, might like to plant them all. And here's some that we've got still to plant. Always tear them off the plant and leave them a few days to what we call callus over. And that just means to say that the ends, if we've got one there we go. If the ends can get nice and dry, and it helps fight off any diseases. And it looks like that one's even started rooting. I find that hard to believe, but they're very easy to grow, and they'll be for sale next year. And then the other one we've got is some mesobranthiums. Not sure what this is, Delospermum I think, but it's one of my sons. And there you can see what it looks like when you get a pot full of it. And they're not spines, by the way, they're just tiny little, this feels like a bit like Velcro. I suppose you could call it a Velcro plant. But we grow them, and we've been growing lots of little cuttings of them. Some of them are done well, some of them haven't. It depends if they've been overwatered or not. Most of them are doing alright though. So they'll be up for sale next year. Anyway, that's me. Today's Grow Joe over. Thank you very much. One last shot of the wonderful aeoniums, and I'll see you next time.